Facebook Live now. Live in the lab. Got Dujunnea Bland on the line. I'm going to go ahead and bring my man in. What's going on, Dujunnea? How you doing tonight, man?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. You know, I don't know, you missed the first hour, and I went on my monologue, so I had to get some things off my chest. So I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, we had a good productive first hour. Talked about some Caps and the Wizards, Robbie and Arun and Mike and Brian Brennan in the Man Cave. So now we're going to get into this fantastic week of NFL Divisional Round playoffs there was. Yes, we can go ahead and go on to my only loss of the weekend, the Atlanta-Philadelphia game. I thought Atlanta's front seven would be able to wreak some havoc on Philly's offensive line, but they were able to sustain and find a way to get enough points to win 15-10. Atlanta, it's been a bad week for the state of Georgia, and it just got a little bit worse with that game because I didn't see that outcome. I said all season about Philly, they've beaten everybody in front of them. I'm just not sold on them. I still feel that way, even though they are in the NFC Championship game. But this definitely was not the way I saw this game playing out. What about you, Dujunnea?
I agree with you on that. I did not see it going that way. I thought they'd be competitive, and it's because defensively, they have the horses to put pressure on the quarterback and get after guys in the, whether it's your run game or your quarterback, they can get after you. I did not expect the outcome though. Once again, it's the Falcons playing, kind of down to what they're capable of doing. They left a lot of things on the table, and they gave them an opportunity. And sure enough, you give a team an opportunity to make plays and to be in a game, and they hang around long enough, they'll take you. And that's exactly what happened. I feel like too, if Julio didn't slip and fall, instant, but we all know that saying. But if he hadn't slipped, I think that game would have been Atlanta's, but that didn't happen. And if you look at the Eagles moving on to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, that Atlanta offense, it didn't look like they had any type of rhythm or any type of confidence in what they were trying to do. It just looked like they were just out of sorts. And Philly, they're an opportunistic team, and they were feeding off of that crowd. And their defense, they have a quality front also that can get pressure on the quarterback without blitzing. And they just made Matt Ryan uncomfortable. There were a couple of miscues, like you said, Julio slipped. There were a couple of drop passes and a couple of opportunities that they, like you said, left on the field. So they didn't answer the call, and they sitting at home watching the championship round of the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Robbie, you have anything about this Atlanta Philly game bring to the table? Because it still left a bad taste in my mouth, man. I thought I jumped out there and took Atlanta, and they let me down for the first time I ever took them, and they folded.
Yeah, so I gotta have to say I'm the only one on the show yesterday last week that took the Eagles. So we went through the whole overtime segment. Everybody wanted to pick Atlanta, and then I thought for a second, could I go last? So I'm like, you know what? Everyone's picking Atlanta. They're favorite on the road. It's unheard of. A number one seed, beat an underdog, and that got to be facing the Eagles the whole week going into it, and they got to prove that they're more than just one guy, that they're more than just Carson Wentz, and that team, won a lot of games this year. And yes, Carson Wentz is the reason why they were so good, but are they good enough to win a home game without him? And they were able to prove in a very interesting matchup that they were. I can't say I wasn't surprised by the outcome, but at the same time, I did sort of see it coming in the sense that nothing's a sure thing in the NFL. I mean, we'll talk about the Jaguars game in a little bit, but a lot of people look at things a certain way, and they're like, the big reason why the Eagles were doing so well is out. So it's easy to say they're not going to get past the first round. And trust me, I wanted that so bad. I wanted to be able to laugh at every Eagles fan and say, you made it, but it didn't count for anything. can, sit back down in the basement, next season, whatever. But, we can't. They won a playoff game. They, in fact, did better than a lot of other NFC East teams have done in the playoffs recently. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next round for sure. But I'll let you get to the other games.
No doubt. I was looking forward to hearing the Eagles fans be quiet. I was talking a little bit of trash myself, which I rarely do, but I got a couple of Eagles fans that we talk trash every now and again. So, unfortunately, they got another week to talk trash, and I think they're going to get shut down, but we'll get to that later on in the week, later on in the show. I mean, next game up, that was New England, Tennessee, 35-14. We all pretty much saw this coming. You can't go against Brady in the hoodie. Tennessee had a nice run. I can honestly say I didn't even really see this game. I knew what the outcome was going to be, so I really wasn't too concerned about it. But the hoodie and Brady, I mean, you can hate them all you want, but you gotta respect them. You can make up all the Spygate and the Deflategate, all of that stuff. You can hang your hat on all of that, but at the end of the day, they got the hardware. What do you say, Dujunnea?
Hey. It's an inferno over there. We just basking it with things to act like it's an illusion and all. But Brady 3 touchdowns, 337. He was pretty efficient on the day. I just felt like Tennessee came out with a lot of fight early. When they got down 21, they pretty much quit after that. And I hate to say that a team quit, but they knew what the end outcome was, and that was unfortunate. But they gave their best effort. I thought they gave their best effort. They gave them the best shot early. They came out, got a touchdown early. Pretty good bout. If they could keep the confidence up, kind of keep things going, and make an impact, and continue to make an impact. But again, you got Brady, who's been there, done that. Belichick-led team. Amendola comes in. He goes for $112 and has 11 receptions on 13 targets. And Gronk does what Gronk does. You got Deion Lewis not only making like Madden-like moves in the running game, but also getting you out in the space and shooting you out of your shoes. He had 9 receptions on 10 targets, 79 yards. So I mean, they got everybody involved, and when they're clicking like that, it's very difficult to stop them.
No doubt. It's I'm not even going to get any more deeper into it. Like I said, I can't never count them out of it. They're always, finding a way to win. Brady and Belichick, to me, the best duo to ever do it. Nothing else you can say. Now we can get into the Sunday fun day. This was some interesting football. We start out with the Jacksonville-Pittsburgh game, which I took Jacksonville after they dumped them early in the season, but it was early in the season, so I said there was still a chance, but I thought Jacksonville's defense was going to dictate this game, and it did, along with their running game, which I didn't think would show up, but it did. Their running back Fournette went out, came back, and you saw a team that was hungry and wanted to win. And Pittsburgh gave up a hell of a fight. I didn't even see the last score that made it 45-42. I thought the game was pretty much over. But they fought to the end, and it's just amazing to see Jacksonville come together and play like they are with the quarterback that they have. And I still say Kirk Cousins is going to end up in Jacksonville next year. What do you have to say about that game, Dujunnea?
First, I'm going to say, hate on Bortles if you want to. All of these talking heads, all these fans sitting around couch potatoes, Monday morning quarterback, talking about Blake Bortles and forgetting that it doesn't always come down to the big name quarterback making big plays. The guy made the right and proper reads, proper throws, didn't make the big mistake. I'm going to tell you what was the deciding factor in this game. That 4th and 1 that Jacksonville converted was huge. The second biggest thing in this game was Mike Tomlin's inability, first off, to understand that your quarterback is a biscuit away from 300 pounds. And you could just fall forward and get a first down, or you could be a smart guy with this being early in this game and take the field goal, which would make it 45-45 and would have given you an opportunity to at least try to get this game, get a win in overtime, okay? They lost by 3 points that they could have picked up if they hadn't gone for it on a pitch play with that quick defense. A pitch play, I mean, again, was Jay Gruden on that sideline? I don't know. That was a bad play call. A pitch play with a quick defense, shut them down. They lose that 3 points, and that is the deciding factor. One thing that's notable with the Jacksonville offense, everybody will sit here and say, okay, well, Blake threw a lot of close, short passes, nothing over 10, 12 yards. Okay, cool, whatever, but you do what you got to do to get the job done. And on critical third down, he converted those. They were 8 and 14 on third down conversion. Huge. That's a big portion of winning a football game is being able to convert on third down. And most importantly, Dude didn't have critical turnovers, costing his team and putting his defense in awful positions with short fields, giving up and giving Pittsburgh opportunities to be able to get back into the game. Now, granted, Pittsburgh was able to score 42 points, but I'll say, once again, as we've talked about with college football and those big scores, I don't think the score really tells how well that Jacksonville defense did as a whole, and they were able to put some points on the board as well. And when they can do that, you have to think that they're going to win the game as long as Blake doesn't screw it up. And he did, and he actually went out and played ball. He balled on Sunday. Good look for Jacksonville. It's very nice to see them back there since the Mark Brunell days, and hopefully, they can give a better showing than Tennessee did against the Patriots. And I think they have a really good shot of doing that. One of the better defenses, quicker defenses. I think a defense that can get after them. And we'll see. But Jacksonville fans here in Florida have to be ecstatic right now with them having at least an opportunity to be in the big dance.
No doubt. I saw an interesting stat today. I was scrolling through, and since Jacksonville has been in existence since 1995, they've won more playoff games than a certain number of teams, and the Redskins are one of those teams. That's just something to think about.
Yep.
And that's not good. I just want folks to think about that. But
and I'm gonna put this out there. We'll put this out there. Now we look at this team, and we look at all the teams that have been in this last session of playoff games in Divisional Round. What is notable? That over half of those teams do not have the big name, overly shiny, polished, look-at-me quarterback. Okay? Just think about that, Redskins fans, as we continue to talk about this Kirk Cousins deal. Do you want to spend money on a guy whose playoff record is putrid, or do you want to build the lines and be able to keep the talent that you have and build upon that and have something like maybe an Alex Smith, a Mariota, a Blake Bortles, one of those guys that can manage a football game and look at where the team is. Don't tell me that teams can't turn it around in 1 year. Jacksonville is living proof of that. Tennessee is proof of that. I mean, what can we say? To sit up here and say it can't be done, we got to stop with that narrative. You know what I mean? We got to stop with that. So that's just food for thought, though. We got a lot of time to talk about Captain Kirk. So that's just food for thought. Think about that.
Well, that's a perfect segue into the next game, the most exciting game that I was actually watching and saw almost the whole game. New Orleans, Minnesota. We spoke last week. We spoke in detail at how good this game was going to be. And once again, we were correct. This game was amazing, the chess battle between the Saints and the Vikings. The Vikings defense forcing early turnovers on Drew Brees to get a lead. Sean Payton going into the locker room, going into his mad scientist book, trying to figure out how to counter that defense. Then they come out, find a way to fight back into it against the crowd, against that defense, force some turnovers of their own, take a late lead, think it's a safe lead, and on a miraculous play. I had a feeling this game was going to end on a crazy fashion. And to see Stephon Diggs, ex-Maryland Terp, Montgomery County, born and raised, makes the play in walk-off fashion to make it to the NFC Championship game, a 61-yard touchdown that he made a read on the ball, went up and got it, was going to go out of bounds for a long field goal attempt. But as I know everyone's seen on Facebook and Instagram, all the memes of the rookie safety and his Olay tackle that took out his own man that allowed Diggs to gain his balance and break 61 yards for a touchdown and break all the New Orleans Saints fans' hearts in that walk-off fashion. And that was one of the most spectacular ways I've ever seen a game ended. And not even being a Vikings fan and not even being a Maryland fan, it was a proud moment for me just to see that dude step up and shine and his reaction. I know some people might say it was cocky. He took his helmet off and should be a penalty. That's the way you in the game. When you in the game like that, you just stand there and you just bask in the glory of it. What do you have to say about that, Tuesday?
I would have done it. That was the complete. I mean, what else could you have done but do a mic drop type thing? You know, that game is probably going to be the game of the playoffs. I mean, both teams. First of all, props to Case Keenum, and it proves once again the age-old theory of it doesn't matter about what the guy's intangibles are and where he's been. The person may not have been in the right situation to fit what they do best, and they found a way to find what he does best. And I'm sure that they're surprised at what he's done this year. But Keenum has had a Pro Bowl-like season. And for him to go out, he did make a mistake. But to continue to fight, and there was points in that game that you would have thought that the stage is just going to get a little bit too big for Case. And he shows up, makes big plays. He made big plays in key situations. I saw something that was telling, and I don't think that's anything that is surprising here, but the third down conversions for New Orleans was 2 of 9. And what was incredible, and has been incredible about the Minnesota Vikings, is that their third down conversions were 10 of 17, and they were very solid in converting in big moments when they had to have it. How about Thielen? That white boy can play. All right? I wish he was on our team. He showed it when they played Washington. He had some big catches in that game. And once again, game after game, this guy shows up and is like Keenum's security blanket and all of this. I really think, and we talked about it last week, whoever was going to come out of this was going to be your Super Bowl representative for the NFC, and I still feel that way. I do think that it's going to be probably just as good of a matchup with the Eagles. But, man, you're talking about this is what you want to see in football with these matchups and with these games. And this is one that, I think we'll relish in for a long time. This was exciting. I don't care, if you're on the losing end of it or the winning end of it. If you're just a football fan, this is something that you dream of, and to have it a walk-off touchdown like that. And I feel sorry for the kid. With all the rules that they have in this game now, and a lot of the compounding rules to protect players, it's a little bit disheartening because maybe he's thinking a little bit and he's trying not to get that PI or that defenseless receiver call, and he goes low and he whiffs. I mean, he's gonna have nightmares about that for a long time. It very well may change the way he plays the game. But at the end of the day, you can't take away what Diggs did. I'm just trying to figure out. I would like to have had a camera or something on him to see what exactly he saw that made him think he had the ability and he had it, that no one's going to come out of nowhere and trip him up and shoestring tackle him before he got to the end zone. And he knew.
I think he looked when he made the catch, and when he saw the guy miss, I think he peeked. Yeah, and I think they have like a screen at the end of their end zone where you can see what's going on along with the jumbotron. So I think I saw him peek, but it was just amazing to see him do that. But my final thought on this, with Bridgewater coming back, what are they going to do? Keenum's a free agent. He's taken into the NFC Championship game. They've got Bridgewater. Keenum, I think, is 27, 28. He's a journeyman. He knows how to play football because he's been in the league a while. He just hasn't got that shot. He was in there with the Rams before they drafted Goff. He played well when they took him out, but they had to put the rookie in because he's #1 pick. So what do you think they would get your answer real quick, and I'm going to go to Robbie. I know Robbie has something he wants to add to the convo. Well, how do you think that situation is going to play out in Minnesota, even with him just making it to the championship game, not even saying if he makes it to the Super Bowl?
You keep Keenum, and I'm going to throw this out there. This is where me and a buddy of mine, who I will leave nameless, had a conversation about this the other night, and come to the conclusion that for the money, if the price is right, you keep Kirk. If the price isn't right and it's going to handicap you from furthering your talent pool and continuing the upward trend as far as talent, you let him go. This is where you have a guy in Colt McCoy who's been on this team for a long time. Guess who you could bring in behind him for the low? That's right, Teddy Bridgewater. Makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Could be, if you build the lines like you should, like Dallas has, like so many other teams, we can name them. Look at some of these teams that are in the playoffs. They have tremendous front lines. If you continue that trend, you don't need exceptional, because really, honestly, when you look at it, Colt McCoy and Kirk Cousins are the same guy. They throw ill-advised interceptions at the wrong time. So are you losing anything? Nope. Establish a running game, get your lines right. Maybe you snag a Bridgewater for the low, let him sit. You ain't got to rush him out there. Just a food for thought, man. I'm just, but you got to keep Keenum. I mean, he's played his butt off. And he has shown he's been in several big moments in this playoffs, which you would have thought he would have collapsed. Oh, here it is. It's going away. We've had it during the season where we thought, okay, he can't do this again. There's no way. Cinderella's going to lose the shoe. It's going to be over. He'll come back down to earth. Nope. So how can you let a man go like that? Because you make the wrong decisions in this league, you're going to be finding yourself another job as a head coach.
No doubt.
You get this far, you got to keep riding.
Yeah, you got to. I'm just, putting it out there because, some folks, going to think the other way. But Keenum has played well. He's found a way to win. Like I said, I felt at the end of that game, even though it was a little bit of time left, I felt that they was going to find a way to win. I didn't think it was going to be in that fashion. I figured it was going to be a dagger, and the Redskins fan and Kai Forbath was going to hit a long field goal to take him to the championship game. And it still kind of hurt because it was a Maryland player out of Montgomery County that's in Minnesota that won the game for them.
Uh-huh.
So, it's just something to look at.
Where did Kai come from?
Where did Kai come from?
He wasn't doing that in Washington. Where did that come from?
Well, he always had
down the middle.
Well, he always had he always could get the long field goal. He just could never get the kickoffs in the end zone. And then
That's right.
He could never get the kickoff in the end zone, and you saw that in the game yesterday. He was a little short on a couple of his kickoffs, so that's his only drawback. But he would put all of that 5'8" frame that he had. He'd put all that into his foot, and he'd hit them long ones. But for some reason, he can't kick off the ball to save his ass.
Can't kick off though.
Yeah, I don't know. But like you said, it's an interesting matchup. We're gonna go ahead and break these down. I know Robbie want to try to get to his pick 'em before overtime. We're not trying to get to overtime tonight, so we're gonna go ahead and break down the AFC NFC Championship games. What are you taking with the New England Jacksonville game? The thing that I just realized is that I saw Tom Coughlin is on the Jacksonville staff, and we all know what Tom Coughlin has done to New England in the playoffs. So that throws an interesting twist on this, because we know if you get Brady off his spot and get pressure on him, he will get erratic and he will get happy feet. So, like I said, I can't go against the Hoodie and Brady. But let's just say if an upset happens, I wouldn't be surprised, because that Tom Coughlin factor, just Belichick, I know he gotta have nightmares about that dude. That's probably the only dude he had nightmares about. He wake up in the cold sweat and see blue, and he just start crying. So I'm going to go with the Patriots, but I'm going to say that if Jacksonville shocks the world, it won't be a shock to me.
Right.
What do you think, Dujunnea?
I'm going to tell you, I'm not afraid of no ghosts. I'm going with Jacksonville.
Oh.
This is why.
Ooh.
This is why. I like my chances with a mean, aggressive, nasty Jalen Ramsey on the outside, who's afraid of no one. He's sweet, but he ain't afraid of nobody. He bring his game every week. And the thing that this Jacksonville defense can do, which is Brady's Achilles heel, is to get him and rush him up the middle in his face. Why do people try to not only show what they're doing, but then you try to rush him as a typical average passer? This dude will pick you apart if you try to come out from around the outside. You have to get pressure up the middle and collapse the pocket in his face. That's where he starts making mistakes. That's where he gets the happy feet, because he know daggone well, if you come up the middle, he can't go to the left or right. He's slower than molasses. He ain't going anywhere. He's a stationary target. And if anybody can do it, Jacksonville can do it. And you know what? Their team has nothing to lose. To them, they weren't even supposed to be here. And then to add on top of the fact that everybody's going to jump on the New England bandwagon and not even give them any kind of credit, that defense has thrived off of that underdog and that disrespect, and they're going to take that disrespect into this game. And I think you're going to see a low scoring game, but one that Jacksonville comes out on top. I'm taking Jacksonville.
I feel you. Like I say, I want to jump out there, but I can't go. I just can't go against them in Foxborough. I mean, in Gillette Stadium. I want to, but I got to stick with them. All right, then we're going to go to the NFC Championship game. Minnesota versus the Eagles in Philly. As I said earlier, I didn't expect the Eagles to make it to the championship game. I did expect the Vikings. I'm going to ride that ship. I like their defense. I like their play caller. I like the way they set their plays up. I like the way they walk off win. Last week definitely made it for some exciting football. And honestly, I see them as the only true team that could probably give the Pats some go in the Super Bowl if the Pats make it to the Super Bowl. If Jacksonville, then that's going to be a hell of a defensive battle. But I'm going with Minnesota. You said, I know you said earlier you still riding with Minnesota. How convincing you think this victory is going to be over the Eagles?
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. if you look at these two teams defensively, they mirror each other. But I think you have to give the edge to the Minnesota defense as far as their secondary. Their secondary is second to none, and it's definitely better than Philly. The key will be, though, is who makes the mistake first. And we saw the ball, that pigskin, make it on the ground a few times, and Atlanta just didn't take advantage of it. I don't ever want to call a win a lucky win because it's, they grinded it out, they got the job done. But Atlanta, in ways, did what they always do in big games in this season, and that's find a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And Minnesota is either going to throw it away or you're going to take it from them. And they're going to be a very hard team to take it from, especially offensively when you look at Diggs, you look at Kyle Rudolph, you look at Thielen, the X factor, I believe, in this game, as far as what he can do not only on the outside, but kind of really being disruptive in the middle of your defense. It's going to be a battle. Philly's not laying down for anyone, and that they proved that last week with that close win against Atlanta. But, man, the freight train is coming. And Case Keenum, off of that high, these guys are confident, and I don't think they really are ready to go and go fishing yet. After they get a chance to be in the Super Bowl, yes. But I think it's Minnesota all day. It'll be a close one. It's going to be another good defensive battle. I know probably a lot of fans who like a lot of scoring probably won't appreciate that, but the chess match is on. But I think the better defense is Minnesota, and I'm going to give them the win.
No doubt, no doubt. I'm going to be enjoying that defensive battle. And I guess we'll go ahead and I know Robbie has been waiting to talk about the exciting ending to the NCAA football season that we started talking about last episode and that they broke down in overtime up until halftime, and then things went haywire. So I'll let y'all two chop it up a little bit about that. And I know Robbie has some interesting perspectives and things to break down with you.
Yeah, sounds good. So I'm going to take just a couple more minutes of your time, Dujunnea, and then I want to get to a panel over here to look at all their takes on the exciting NFL games that were this week as well. But I know that we sort of ended things last week with a very exciting defensive battle through the first half of the championship game between Georgia Bulldogs and the eventual champions. Roll Tide, I guess, they just seem to do well every time they make it to the championship game, I guess, unless they don't. But you can't seem to keep Nick Saban down for too long, and it was a really impressive second half with some exciting moments, a missed field goal, and overtime with some really crazy theatrics, especially at the end with the field goal, and then a huge sack to put him in an improbable situation, and then the inevitable touchdown that sort of ended the game. But, Dujunnea, what were some of your thoughts on the end to the national championship?
I thought it was spectacular. It was disappointing to see Georgia work that hard all game defensively. You look at some of the statistics here. You forced their offense to be 3 of 14 on third down. Okay, they held them pretty well as far as their net rushing. 4.7 yards rushing. It was really low early, and they held them really to a really minimal passing game of 169 yards. I thought the biggest move that was telling and
extra week of it, which I know is tough. You have some kids who aren't getting paid to play football might not want to play an extra round of bowl games, but just to be sure, because there's a 13-0 team out there that are claiming national championships in Florida. I think that I wish that they could have gotten a chance to play some of these teams, to see how they would have done against the big boys. I think they would have lost, but we don't ever know. It was an exciting final. I'm happy with the way the system is going. I think there's a couple of things that they could do to improve it. Maybe expand the field just a little bit larger would be pretty cool in my mind. Really quickly, Dujunnea, do you have any thoughts on that? And then we'll end our NCAA talk.
I do, and I agree. I think though what we need to realize that even if it's expanded, you're always going to have a team that's going to be left out, and there's going to be teams that feel that they were left out. I would have liked to have seen what UCF could have done as well against the Georgias, the Alabamas, the Clemsons, but again, Auburn was in the national championship, was in the SEC championship game, beat the national champion, and they beat them. So I really think that they could have given these teams a run for their money. Whether they would have won or not, that's something that we'll never know. But they put up 34 points against the runner-up to the SEC champion, and it was a very competitive football game. So yeah, it would be fun to have seen a team like that, to get an opportunity to be able to be a part of that playoff, especially with the record that they did put up. And like I've said before, you can make all the cases about their schedule, but you look at Alabama's schedule and you put that side by side with Ohio State's schedule, and then you put their schedule up close to that, they're kind of similar. They had some big games, they had some cupcake games, and some of those cupcake games were just as cupcakey as any other guy, any other team out there. So to use that as an argument is probably not the best, even though people do use it as an argument. But yeah, it would be nice to see it expanded a little bit. I don't think it'll happen anytime soon, but I think eventually we'll get a chance to see maybe a 6 or 8 team playoff, which would be exciting to be able to extend the college football season a little bit longer.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I think it was an important question to put out there. I appreciate your response, Dujunnea. I hope that they do decide to hit sooner rather than later. But I really appreciate all your time giving us some NCAA football analysis during the whole season and all your NFL analysis today. And since it's a holiday, we're trying to cut everything a little bit shorter tonight, so I know that I want to be wary of your time as well. And we appreciate you for coming on tonight.
No problem, man. I always appreciate being on, and it's always a blast. So I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
No problem, man. No problem. I always love having you on. I'm about to go ahead and end this football talk.